Good evening and welcome to Bharat News on Bharat TV. My name is Shajeev Jagannathan and here are tonight's top headlines. President Donald Trump has sparked controversy with his proposal for the U.S. to take control of Gaza. The U.S. Postal Service has suspended incoming parcels from China and Hong Kong. A federal judge has blocked President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. The administration has also begun sending migrants to Guantanamo Bay. And crews are continuing their recovery efforts in Washington, D.C. after the deadly mid-air collision. And in Indian news, exit polls predict a major win for BJP in Delhi Assembly elections, while the Indian Finance Ministry has banned the use of AI tools like ChatGPT by government employees. The Tirupati Temple Board has sacked 18 staffers. Families of Gujarati illegal immigrants deported from the U.S. are speaking out. And internationally, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has offered a peace overture to India over the Kashmir issue. So let's dive right into tonight's details. President Donald Trump has caused a stir with the suggestion that the U.S. will take over Gaza, potentially with the help of U.S. troops, and force Palestinians to leave the region. The remarks came during a discussion with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House, where Trump also stated, "We'll own it," referring to Gaza's future as a U.S. territory. His controversial proposal includes dismantling unexploded bombs, clearing the debris, and transforming the area into a tourist destination, dubbed the Riviera of the Middle East. Now, Arab nations have strongly rejected the plan, particularly the notion of accepting displaced Palestinians, and there are concerns over the forcible relocation of 2 million people. Israeli leaders, however, appeared supportive, with Netanyahu expressing optimism that Trump's actions would align with Israeli war goals, and international communities awaiting further clarification on the potential ramification of such a move. The U.S. Postal Service has announced it will no longer accept incoming parcels from China and Hong Kong, though letters will still be processed as usual. Now, this decision comes in the wake of President Trump ending a key exemption that allowed Chinese e-commerce shipments valued at under $800 to enter the U.S. without duties or inspections. Analysts suggest this move could severely impact platforms like Shein and Temu, which rely on cheap shipping from China. And the suspension is seen as a response to the growing trade tensions between the U.S. and China, with many experts predicting further restrictions could follow. Now, shippers are scrambling to find new ways to circumvent the ban, while small businesses dependent on affordable Chinese goods are facing uncertainty. The full implications of this change on e-commerce and global trade remains to be seen. A federal judge today has blocked President Trump's executive order aimed at eliminating birthright citizenship, a cornerstone of U.S. immigration law. The controversial order sought to deny citizenship to children born on U.S. soil to non-citizen parents, a move that would have impacted thousands of children annually. Critics argue that the executive order violated the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees citizenship to anyone born in the country. The ruling is seen as a significant legal victory for immigrant rights groups who warned that such measures could harm children and families. The Trump administration is expected to appeal the decision, and the case may eventually be decided by the Supreme Court. The Trump administration has begun sending migrants with criminal records to Guantanamo Bay, a move that has raised questions about its legality. The U.S. military confirmed that around 10 migrants arrived in the detention center, which has been the subject of controversy for its treatment of detainees, many of whom were held without trial for years. Now, President Trump has previously issued a memorandum directing the federal government to prepare Guantanamo as a facility for housing tens of thousands of migrants. Critics argue that the plan violates international law and could lead to prolonged detention without legal recourse. And human rights organizations have condemned the decision, while supporters claim it is a necessary step to manage the U.S. border crisis. The recovery operation continues in Washington, D.C. following last week's tragic mid-air collision between an American Airlines jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter. crews are working at the site of the crash and have now recovered the remains of all 67 victims, with further pieces of the aircraft being pulled from the Potomac River. Investigators are working to piece together what caused the accident, which has left both the aviation and military communities in shock. The mid-air collision remains unexplained, with investigators focusing on communication and navigation issues that may have contributed to the disaster. The recovery operation faces challenges as snow, sleet, and freezing rain are expected to worsen conditions for the personnel involved. In Indian news, exit polls for the Delhi Assembly elections have predicted a significant win for the BJP, with some estimates showing a clear majority. The exit polls conducted by leading agencies such as Matriz, CV Voter, and People's Pulse suggest that the AAP will struggle to retain power, despite strong efforts by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. BJP leaders have expressed confidence in their victory, with citing public dissatisfaction with the AAP's governance. The results of these polls are being closely watched as they could signal a shift in political dynamics ahead of the 2025 general elections. However, AAP officials remain optimistic and are calling for a final push in the last stages of the campaign. The Indian Finance Ministry has issued a directive to all its employees warning them against using AI tools like ChatGPT, DeepSeek for official purposes. The advisory cites concerns over data security, privacy, and especially in relation to sensitive financial and government information. Employees have been instructed to avoid using AI tools that could inadvertently leak data or generate unreliable information. The move has raised questions about the role of AI in government operations, with experts warning and arguing that while AI can enhance productivity, its risks must be carefully managed. The ban on such tools could have significant implications on how government departments adapt to evolving technological landscapes. The Tirupati Temple Board has sacked 18 employees for violating established Hindu traditions and policies. The temple, one of the most visited pilgrimage sites in India, has strict guidelines on its staff, and the violations could include misconduct during religious ceremonies and unauthorized interactions with devotees. The temple's management took swift action following an internal investigation and has pledged to uphold the sanctity of religious practices at the temple. The dismissal of the staff members has sparked debate among temple workers, some of whom feel the policies are overly stringent, while others support the board's decision to maintain discipline. Families of Gujarati illegal immigrants who were deported from the United States in recent weeks were speaking out against the harsh immigration policies of the Trump administration. Many of those deported have lived in the U.S. for several years, working in the informal economy and raising their families. The families now back in Gujarat are struggling to adjust to life without the financial support they once received from relatives in the United States. They've called on both the Indian and U.S. governments to provide assistance and amnesty for those who have contributed to their communities. The deportations are part of President Trump's ongoing crackdown on illegal immigration. In international news, Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif has extended a peace overture to India, proposing bilateral talks to resolve ongoing disputes, particularly over Kashmir. In a statement issued on Tuesday, Sharif emphasized the importance of dialogue between the two nations to ensure regional stability. Sharif's proposal is seen as a significant shift in Pakistan's diplomatic approach, as both nations have engaged in heightened tensions in recent years over territorial issues. And India has yet to respond to the offer, but many analysts suggest that any peace talks will depend on significant trust-building measures from both sides. And Sharif's proposal underscores the continuing challenges in achieving peace between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. Now that concludes today's news on Bharat TV. For more updates on stories like this, visit our website or follow us on social media. I'm Shujit Jagannathan, and I will see you next time.